Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Implants Made Simple. I'm Dr. Robert Stanley, a.k.a. Smile Engineer, and today I have Dr. Monica Wheeler, a.k.a. the classy Dr. Monica on Instagram, and you probably all are well aware of her. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Just recently, we were having a conversation, and you had just finished taking the Stanley Institute Essentials 3 course, which is the prosthodontic course.
Yes.
And then you immediately, which was a live course, and then you immediately started to take the Essentials 1 course, which is the planning course. And you said something to me in the hallway, which, by the way, the E1 that you're taking is virtual, so you can watch it at your leisure. But you said something to me in the hallway, and that's what really caught my attention is you said to me, I can't believe I was placing implants without this knowledge. So tell me a little bit about that. You have many years of experience. You're a seasoned dentist. So what did you mean by that when you said that?
So when you think about implant dentistry, what you basically learn is, okay, like how to put the implant in. That's pretty much what everyone is trying to do. Like you go to Costa Rica, how many implants can you place, right? That's really it. Most of the courses that are out there, they don't really go over a lot of the background information that you gave. And sometimes when you get to your end result, you need to know the how and the why, because it'll give you a better outcome. And so putting all these things together, hearing you talk about them, taking the course, and then coupling that with my experience of placing implants before, I was just like, what was I thinking about? And then thinking about the failures and how the failures that I've seen from my own implants or from other people's implants, like how many things could have been prevented if other steps would have been taken, or if I had the knowledge that I had from taking your course. So that's pretty much it. And I felt like, now I would be doing amazing implants because I have the experience, right? But also this amazing level of knowledge that I feel like you really need to know to practice high level implant dentistry. So it's been great. You're a great teacher.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting because we've heard before, we've had some oral surgeons in the course, we've had some periodontists in the course, we have GPs in the course, and we've heard people in the past say, should I come to your class? And I always tell them, listen, the course is very unique in that we're not going to teach you how to be a dentist or a doctor, right? We're not going to tell you, what antibiotic to use. You guys, everybody knows that, right? So the course doesn't do that, right? It doesn't do that. It talks about things that we don't typically associate with dental implants and risk factors associated with them.
Yeah.
And like you said, after you see those risk factors, there's this moment where you go back to that case on John Doe and you say, I remember that case on John Doe. And that picture, that radiograph sticks in your mind, right? And you remember it. Sometimes it looks like a Snoopy.
Yep.
Sometimes it looks like an ET.
That's right. Yep.
And if you're lucky, it looks like a heart.
Yep.
But you think back and say, that was a Snoop. I had all those complications and it was a Snoopy. So that's what you're doing now. You're thinking back on those cases.
There's one particular patient that I remember just so vividly in my mind. She's actually an attorney. But I inherited her implant case, and she had a Snoopy. And her implant, when she came in, that was her initial reason for her coming in. She broke her implant crown. She's like, can you get me a new crown? I'm like, girl, you really banging on these teeth. You have a night guard, and gave her a night guard. And then a few years later, she broke it again. And it was because it was a Snoopy. I remember I was like, this crown just looks so funny. And I would just look at it and I was like, well, I can't do anything about it. I can't really change it. It's already in there. And so, I felt like I couldn't help her, and she was getting so frustrated. But if I would have just told her way before, hey, listen, this design is bad. This is why you're having this issue. Because she hated the dentist. Because she's like, well, I got this implant, and I keep having these problems. I just don't understand. And I just really couldn't give her an explanation. I'd take the crown out of occlusion, but still she's chewing on it, and that's what happened with that.
So patient management is also a huge aspect of what you can get from
Yeah.
this content, because now you can look at a case where otherwise you'd be saying, I don't know.
Yep.
Inside your mind, we all ask these questions sometimes. I don't know the answer to this problem.
Right.
So that's what you're experiencing now. You're looking at these cases going, man, if I had known this, I could have told them. You're likely going to experience this problem
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
As long as that implant's in the mouth, you're going to have screw loosening ever so often. And then you can manage the patient, right? Mm-hmm. You can tell them, expect it and it's okay. We expect it. And when you come in, we'll just tighten it and it'll be no problem.
Yeah, right. And so just if I would have, number one, I had ended up changing the design of her crown to screw retain because the screw was just getting loose. It was just a nightmare of things. But I feel like if I would have told her before, she would have known what to expect. She would have been more compliant. She would have been less irritable. It'd have been less stressful for me. And she would have just trusted me more because now I can say, hey, listen, I have this information. Let me tell you what's going to happen. It's like your doctor tells you, look, what's your sugar levels? You're going to run into diabetes, right? That's what we expect them to do. And I think with dentistry, we're just quick problem solvers. But I think if we can anticipate what's going to happen, with the patient long term, they end up trusting us. And then that's how you get that lifetime patient and, big patient following and people being compliant and you being happy and successful.
And that also correlates to your personal confidence, right?
Right.
When you have that competence, mm-hmm. You have that confidence.
Yep.
And that people can see that. People around you can see it. Your patients can see it.
Right.
And it also carries over well, on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Then she would just send all her friends to me.
Right.
And, you get more patients and you get more money.
Yeah. Take care of those kids.
Right, that's right.
That money comes in, it goes straight out the door to the kids.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So how far are you through the Essentials 1, the planning course?
I just finished with the implant design part, which is also really important to me, knowing the makeup of the implants, knowing how the implant should be designed, knowing the different features of with a laser lock. That was a huge thing. And just the way that you kind of went through the background of that and why you should have it and what implants don't have it and what things could happen when you don't have it. You're just like, wow, okay, I didn't really realize that they had that laser lock on it. I don't think a lot of people my age, right? And I've been out of school for 11 years. We're just looking for what's the cheapest thing. We're not looking for sometimes the best thing, which is not, it's the reality of the world that we live in. And I think if you have a better product, right, you can have a better outcome.
Right.
And if you have a shitty product, you have a shitty outcome.
Amen. So true, right?
Yes.
I think what's interesting about what you said there is that so many people will buy implants based on price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? You go to the trade show and you're going booth to booth asking on price as if implants were a commodity.
Right.
And now that you've been through the implant design, what do you think about implants being classified as a commodity or the favorite term that we hear, all implants work? Mm-hmm. Right? What do you think about that now?
I don't like that.
Tell me why you don't like that. What sticks in your memory the most about the implant lecture that would make you say, well, you know what, I've changed my mind. I don't believe that anymore.
Well, thinking about what the implants that you talked about, which is the BioHorizons, and it's not I'm not being paid to say this, but when you look at their product and what you're trying to accomplish, it's kind of like what we talked about another day, right? If you have these things that can minimize a risk and increase a better outcome, why would you not use it?
Right.
Why would you want to put just any implant in your patient, right? You can't control everything that they're doing, so you want to give them a top tier product because bad in, bad out,
right.
Good in, good out,
right.
Or at least you can minimize it from being, so bad. Even if it's like a patient who maybe is a diabetic or has whatever medical complications, if you give them something that's a really good product, considering that they might have bad health or hygiene or whatever, you're still going to get a better outcome than if you gave them a bad implant. And we don't think about it. We just think an implant is an implant is an implant. They're all the same. You can put an implant in the bone and it's just like the bone level thing, you also talked about. Well, where are you going to put your implant? It's a bone level implant.
Right.
So I believe in lifelong learning. And I feel like just because you learn something once doesn't mean you know everything about it unless you're, a expert in it.
Yeah.
And even if you're not, there's always something that's changing. There's always something that's new. So I think it's important for continuing education, which I take a lot of and I really love. But this has opened my mind to a different level of implant dentistry. It kind of almost makes you fall in love with like implant dentistry because you feel like it can be so successful. Because sometimes when you're taught the implant dentistry and it's this very base level, you're kind of just rolling the dice. Can I get the implant in? The implant didn't fail. I mean, it failed. Why did it fail? Why were they having these issues? What happened with this? Well, I thought I placed it perfectly. I got it in the bone. It's bone level. So many things that you will make you feel like, you know what? I don't really want to do an implant. It's unpredictable. And so I think in dentistry, we want to do stuff the same way every single time to get that predictable outcome.
Right.
And that's how my brain works. So.
I couldn't have said it any better. I might have said implants made simple, but you summed it up because what you basically said there was we're trying to drive risks to zero, which we can never do.
Right.
We're all human and we're working on humans. So we know we can't do it, but we're always trying, right?
Yep.
We're always trying to drive those risks to zero. And we're also trying to simplify our daily life.
Right.
Because we have so much going on. And John Coyce talks about the always as, making your life simple by having always.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a hygiene check. You're going to have these instruments always on the tray so that you don't have to tell your team, oh, today I'd like to have a mirror or an Explorer.
Right.
It's an always,
Yes.
And so I really like that about John and that analogy that he makes with the always. So we try to expand on that in our practice. And we say, what do we want to make always? Well, we want to make implant success an always. So we've been working for a number of years to drive those risk factors to zero so that you get great outcomes. Now, it doesn't always happen.
Yep.
You can't control for certain things like smoking,
right.
patient habits, things like that. But the things you can control for, like implant design and implant selection, implant location, and how you get it there and when you get it there, all that matters.
All that matters, yeah. And so, and funny thing, I'll just say this last thing. I think you talked about in your lecture in person how, you would place an implant freehand, right? Use your pilot drill. You place that implant. You're waiting for that PA.
Yes.
And you're sweating. You're like,
Yes.
What's it going to look like? I need to see that X-ray first. I need to look at that radiograph. I need to see that. Nobody else needs to see it except for me. If it looks good, then everybody else can see it. But if it doesn't, that's so stressful.
So stressful.
And I have so many friends who that used to work with me, and they would just be like, well, you're waiting in the hallway. Like, why are you waiting in the hallway? And I'm like, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see the X-ray. I'm waiting to look to see what it is it looked like. And so they didn't do implants because they could see how stressed I was and how I was just like, I know where I think I put it.
Right.
But I don't know where I know I put it. Right. And so why would you want to do that?
Right.
Why would you want to be stressed out like that?
Just use a tool to get it in the right location.
And it's fast. The implant freehand is fast. So implant guided is faster.
Yeah, it's so true. Those days because I'm old enough to have started before the guides were available. And so those days were very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
You would do the best you can to get the implant in location and then wait for that PA. And you're like, oh, hold your breath.
Yeah.
Look at it behind the patient, never in front of the patient.
Yep.
And then, take a deep breath. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
You think it's okay.
Right.
You're only looking at a two-dimensional radiograph,
Right.
but you don't know about that buccal-lingual dimension.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's always an issue as well.
Yep.
As soon as you're done with Essentials 1, do you think you're going to jump right into the at-home version of
Essentials 2.
Essentials 2? Ready
Yep.
to go?
Yep. It's already in the queue.
Yeah. Monica, you I walked by the other day in the hallway and I saw you on the computer. I said, what you doing? You said, I'm taking E1. And I think this was like Monday.
Yeah.
After the weekend where we had just finished E3.
Oh, yeah.
And so you are absolutely true when you say you're a lifelong learner.
Oh, yeah. I love
There's
it.
no doubt about that.
And all my friends know right now I'm doing implant CE. And so I'm like, you call me late at night, I'm busy. But, it helps with your confidence. And I think with confidence, you influence. And I think that's what me being a dentist is at this point in my career. I've done, whatever stuff, now it's just like, okay, well, how well can you do it? Like, you want to set yourself apart, and do just high quality, top tier dentistry for your patients. That makes me happy. Now, it's not about, oh, I'm going to make all this money or, oh, I'm going to do this. It's just like, you want to walk away knowing that you gave someone that service that you would want in your mouth.
It's so true. And Dr. Bobby will always say, it's important that we make money in our business, otherwise we won't be in business.
Right.
She says that all the time. But there's a certain point in your journey through this thing called life where we do exactly what you say, and that is you challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Your competition is your last performance.
Yep.
You know, and that's what you're talking about.
So I cannot wait to place my first guided implant.
Well, I'm sure it's only going to be in a couple of days at this rate.
I'm waiting. I'm looking for them. Like, who needs an implant there? But also with the immediate implant placement, you know, it's been such a like, oh, we don't do the immediate implant placement. You know, we don't know, like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Or, you know, but when you talk about what you can expect, you know, the 5-thread rule or, you know, gap grafting, like all of those things are just, you know, wow, the patient doesn't really have to wait.
Nope.
And they don't want to wait.
No, they
They
don't.
don't want to wait.
Yeah, not in America. We're not waiting in America. Those two words are very seldom in the same sentence.
They want it 5 minutes ago.
Or is it not done yet?
Right.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
The classy Dr. Monica on Instagram. Check her out. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of Implants Made Simple. I'm Dr. Robert Stanley. Smile Engineer out.